to hold their feet to the fire. The Bill Myers Show, live from Washington, D.C. on KMED and KCMD.
Well, we're not talking about, hey, how did those Steelers do over the weekend? Of course, with Ben Roethlisberger. I can never pronounce his name correctly. Well, when Ben's gone, what can you say? And besides, I'm not much of a sports guy anyway, but we are talking immigration reform for these next couple of days. Hold their feet to the fire, live from Capitol Hill. And joining me right now here, Dale Wilcox. He's the executive director of the Immigration Reform Law Institute. We're going to be talking a little bit about Brett Kavanaugh. We're going to be talking. Well, why don't we get to the fun stuff first here? All right, we'll get to the fun stuff, and then we'll go to the dessert, if that's okay.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, and Dale. And first off, Dale, you just released a report. We're going to have to link to this on KMED.com, and the website, by the way, irli.org. And you ended up looking into sanctuary communities, and the entire state of Oregon is kind of a soft sanctuary state.
It is.
As it is right now.
Yes.
But I noticed that you have a list of top 10. Meet America's 10 worst sanctuary communities. Report out just this morning. And who are some of our top losers in the country? Huh?
Yeah. We've been following around sanctuary cities for some time, digging into what they've been doing, and we've used the Freedom of Information Act to get these records, sometimes through lawsuits with the federal government.
I'm glad. I was wondering about that, because and how do you, and this is a little bit outside of the scope here, so often I'm just trying to find out when we have people arrested, what is the immigration status? Because we used to know. It used to be reported on our county arrest records and all the rest of it, and now it's like it's hidden.
Yeah.
And you can't find it. How do you find it?
Well, we have to use public records requests to get that information, and sometimes they don't want to turn that over, so we have to sue, which in the case of this report, that's how we got the information regarding who's cooperating with the federal government and who's not. And we've put together the top 10, or I should say bottom 10, cities who we feel are the worst offenders regarding cooperating with federal immigration authorities.
Does this make them necessarily the worst cities, or just the fact that they're not working with Uncle Fed?
Yeah, they are the bottom 10, I would say, as far as cooperation go with the federal government.
So you're from ICE, screw you, in essence, right?
Yes.
Have a nice day.
Essentially, if you are a criminal alien, come to our city. You are safe here.
All right. Number 10, Santa Clara. So this is San Jose area, right? Santa Clara County.
It is. Yeah. Santa Clara has, I think they brag, if I'm not mistaken, about being one of the first sanctuary cities in the United States. Very notorious, and proportionally, the number of detainer requests that they have dishonored from the federal government. And a detainer request essentially is a request from the feds. You've arrested this individual. Their fingerprints have been sent to us, and we'd like you to hold them for 48 hours so we can come and pick them up to begin deportation proceedings.
It would sound to be a reasonable request.
Yes.
In a sane world.
Yes, in a sane world. So Santa Clara denies all detainer requests from the federal government. They will not hold a criminal alien for ICE to come pick them up so they can be deported.
So even if someone is a terrorist, let's say, and has just conducted a big bombing or something like that, I mean, they wouldn't obey that, or is this something different?
Well, it's
this is a detainer. Yeah, I guess
this
it's
is a
not
detainer.
The same.
So if somebody commits a murder, if somebody commits a rape, they will charge them, fingerprint them, book them, charge them, and if they're eligible to bond out, they'll allow them to bond out. Now, ICE will send a detainer and say, no, don't let them go. We're coming to get them. We're going to ship them out of the country.
Wow.
And these jurisdictions say, well, they don't say anything. They refuse to let ICE know, or they refuse to hold them for ICE when they're releasing people.
All right.
So even people who've served sentences for crimes, same thing. When their day that they're going to be released, they will not communicate that date to ICE so that ICE can be there to pick them up at the jail.
Dale Wilcox here, and he is the Executive Director, Immigration Reform Law Institute. Number 9, the great city of Boston. I never thought of Boston, Massachusetts as being a hotbed of illegal immigration, but I guess apparently it is.
Oh, it is. It is. Boston, for many years, has been a place where illegal aliens know they can go and hide out. In fact, there's actually a story here recently, a notorious killer from Northern Triangle country south of the border, is wanted in his country for major crimes, killing of 70-plus people and terrorizing, and he's hiding out in Boston.
Oh, he's misunderstood.
Yeah, he's misunderstood. Well, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we're laughing, not ha-ha,
Yeah,
but it's like this is the kind of thinking.
It's that ridiculous.
Yeah, which goes on with sanctuary status. Now, this one, not too far. Prince George's County, Maryland, at number 8. Now, this is essentially... Now, what county are we in with D.C. right now? What is that?
Well, the District of Columbia.
District of Columbia is its own.
Yeah.
But then Prince George's
is adjacent to D.C.
Okay.
There's Montgomery County, which
it's
is number 7 on
It's
our
essentially
list.
the suburbs, right?
Yes. Number 7 and number 8, all three. There was a tie for number 7. Montgomery County, Maryland, and Fairfax County, Virginia. They all border D.C. So you have these D.C. suburbs. We have a real problem here locally with illegal immigration, and particularly the MS-13 gang has entrenched itself in this area and in our schools.
That is fascinating because Richard Valdemar, who was talking with me a few minutes ago, and he was discussing, and he was from law enforcement, and he talked about how on 9/11, with the destruction of the Pentagon, on that situation, when they were rebuilding it, the construction gangs put MS-13 graffiti on the...
Yes. They're entrenched here. Yeah, they have real problems with gangs in the high schools and senior highs.
I had no idea. Now, number 7 is actually a tie, including Fairfax County, Virginia, and Montgomery County, Maryland. So we're all pretty close here, right?
Yes. And Montgomery County has made the news here most recently. Their sanctuary, they've had a sanctuary policy for some time, but they doubled down. July 25th, they passed an even stricter policy. They will not cooperate with the feds whatsoever. And there have been 10 sexual assaults, 10 rapes by illegal aliens in the 2 months since they've passed that. And
it's about one a week.
Basically, yes. Yes. And the victims have been as young as 6 years old. So this is what we're seeing. And sanctuary policies are neither compassionate or humane, as the open borders groups like to say.
And
they're dangerous.
And the thing is, I would imagine immigrant communities are not real happy with these individuals behaving this way in their community. Or am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. You picked up on something there. These individuals who are being released back into the communities go back into the immigrant communities and terrorize innocent people. So you're absolutely right. The immigrants themselves don't want these criminals in their communities, but the powers that be, the politicians, and in my opinion, the only rationale for this is they're trolling for potential voters, future voters.
Yeah, future ones.
That's what it's.
Not surprised about your number 6 pick, Chicago. That's a big hotbed. We know about that.
Yeah, Chicago has one of the worst sanctuary laws in the country. We've seen numerous egregious crimes occur in the city. And one thing that you will see is in these cities that we've listed, crime rates are on the rise. Mm-hmm. When you promote lawlessness or you protect those who are committing crimes, lawlessness breeds lawlessness. You're going to see a rise in gun violence and other violent crimes.
Well, you fix that by burning the Constitution and banning firearms for everybody who follows the law. Okay. Number 5, no surprise in this one, too, because, my gosh, there's even been documentaries about it.
Yeah.
Seattle is dying, right? And Seattle, Washington. I came from there, to Southern Oregon. It was... my experience in the 1980s in Seattle seems to be a very different experience than what Seattle is experiencing right now.
Right. In Seattle, they are on a downward slide. They passed their sanctuary policy in 03-04, and they keep coming back and making it worse and worse and worse. And we've seen egregious examples of crimes being committed there. Even recently, this year, an individual was released after serving 9 years for rape of a disabled woman, a woman in a wheelchair. And within 3 days, pursuant to the sanctuary policy, ICE was not notified to come pick this guy up. He was not held pursuant to a detainer request. They released him back into the community. It's alleged that 3 days later he went back to the house, to his victim's house, dumped her out of her wheelchair, and tried to choke her out in front of her 3-year-old.
You ever wonder if this kind of sanctuary city activity, and by the way, Dale Wilcox, once again, Executive Director, Immigration Reform Law Institute, if this kind of activity, you rattling off all these crimes that don't get prosecuted, cities don't even try to help criminals get arrested and prosecuted or deported, as the case might be. I think it gets to the point where the rest of us, why do we have to follow the law? Why bother? What's the point?
Right. Yeah. Hey, I want to drive my car as fast as I want to drive it, even through neighborhoods where kids are playing.
Yeah.
It's my prerogative.
Yeah.
See, like I said, lawlessness breeds lawlessness. When you don't enforce the law, you're going to see more of this. And speaking of which, you brought up cities facilitating and helping criminal aliens, and Philadelphia is our next one. And they
City of brotherly love and open borders.
Oh,
huh?
yes. They are doing something especially egregious. The district attorney there has a lawyer assigned to